Morning, guys. Welcome to day 732 of the quarantine. We know it's trying for everybody, but I think you guys can hang in there. Hopefully, things are going well and you're staying focused on your work. Um, Still trying to find an opportunity to get connected with your classmates. Hopefully, you're having some fun, and we trust things are going well for you. Here's your dad joke of the day. Um, Officer, are you crying while writing me a ticket? The officer, it's a moving violation. Some of you will get it in a minute. All right, this is your video giving you your review for tomorrow's test. Um, I'm going to just tell you what you need to make sure you understand, things you need to learn. I sent your parents an email asking them to be prepared to proctor this test for you. And I only heard back from one of your parents. That makes me a little concerned. Um, but we'll see. Hopefully, your parents are just reading the emails and not responding. But I'm going to send them your test, and I'm going to ask them to administer it sometime between 9 p.m. tonight and 10 p.m. tomorrow night, and then send me a picture of the finished test. And I'm asking your parents to do that. So not you guys. I don't want you guys to possess this test except for the time that it takes you to actually take it. So I want your parents to give you the test and then take it back from you, take a picture of it, and then once I respond that I receive the test, I want your parents to destroy the test. Because I don't want unit tests flying around out there, and this is the only way I figured out how to get them to proctor it. As always, let's make sure you're not using your notes, your books, any devices. Just sit at a table or sit at your desk with just your pen or your pencil and take this test. All right, so the test is 60 questions long. There's 4 essay questions. This test covers all the way back to this is all of Unit 6, so lessons 24 all the way to 29, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. And you need to be able to understand your taglines for all the fruit of the Spirit: love, having compassion for all men, joy, peace, all those. Make sure you understand all of those, because you have to do a fill in the blank section. Also, you should know 5 areas of life in which the person who is self-controlled will have victory. You should be able to list at least 5 of those. You should understand the 3 parts of man's being: body, soul, spirit. 2 things about which faithfulness is unswerving. So I'm going to go through this quickly so that the video is short, but if you need to pause the video and look these things up so that you have them in your study sheet, that's good. So 2 things about which faithfulness is unswerving. You should know at least 5 areas where Jesus showed gentleness to his people. 5 areas in which Jesus showed gentleness to his people. 4 things that we can endure because of God's mercy. 4 things that we can endure because of God's mercy. And then remember that chart where we had the 4 wrong responses when we're tempted, when we are provoked to anger or discouragement. Remember that one that was retaliation or quitting or regression. You need to track that one down. You should know the 4 wrong responses that we are tempted to make when we're provoked to either anger or discouragement. So that's all the listing that you need to be able to do. You should be able to list those. There's some multiple choice questions. And these mainly come from fill in the blanks from your teacher's lessons. So, for instance, your service, your motivation for service should be purity of motive. Back when we were talking about, I think it was goodness. Um, Goodness is whatever God does, gives, or commands. All those things. Um, Exercising self control takes more strength or power than yielding to the flesh. Um, Meekness is being silent in subjection. Um, so make sure you understand um, and can fill in the blanks for all these things there. Christ endured or was long suffering. That was our long suffering chapter because his focus was on the blank. And we see from Hebrews chapter 12 that his focus was on the future. All right, how about these essay questions now? All right, so there's 4 essay questions. There was an essay question about the tyranny of the urgent. You guys should be able to go back and take a look at that question about the tyranny of the urgent. You should understand the difference between meekness and weakness. That was on just your most recent quiz. Also on your most recent quiz, we dealt a little bit with Solomon's analogy of the city without walls. Not being able to control your temper is like being a city without walls. And then going back to the lesson on kindness, what was Christ's ultimate kindness to man? And that's actually what we're celebrating now with Holy Week, with Christ offering his life for the sheep, giving his life. All right, so those are some essay questions that you should be familiar with. We have a matching section covering all the fruit of the Spirit, where you should be able to match synonyms with the fruit of the Spirit and antonyms with the fruit of the Spirit. So make sure you know the synonyms and antonyms for love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, and temperance. Okay? So if you know all of those, you should be able to match up the synonym or the antonym. And then there's some true and false questions. Of course, these come from the teacher's lesson and the student lesson. And usually they try to make sure you understand the basic concepts, the principles. There's a couple on faithfulness, so make sure you look at the information on faithfulness, about not just starting a work but finishing it. Also, not hesitating. Remember, that was a question about hesitation. Faithfulness does not hesitate. You don't wait around for the right time. You get it done. There is one on meekness that you should be able to get if you understand the difference between meekness and weakness. Understand the definition of the word amusement. You should be able to track that down. You should know where the primary application for the term long-suffering is. What does long-suffering apply to? That was in that lesson. So you can get out your old quizzes if you want and make sure you have the right answers for these. What's the difference between gentleness and goodness? What's the difference? I think one was a inner attitude and the other one is an outward action. You should know which one was which. Make sure you understand the definitions of all these. So remember, I told you there was 3 things that you were going to need to know with each fruit of the Spirit. You were going to need to know the tagline for it, you were going to need to know the definition, and you were going to need to know its relationship to love. So if you know those 3 things, you're going to do pretty well, I think, on this quiz. That's pretty much it. So it took me only about less than 10 minutes to tell you what this was going to be on, but you have to look up all those things and make sure that you've mastered them. Okay? So work hard on your preparation today and tomorrow, and I'm going to email again tonight after 9 o'clock. I'm going to email that test to your parents. I should be able to send that email out right around 9 o'clock, and then your parents have about 25 hours to print that test out and administer it to you. I need to get it back in my email before 10 o'clock on Thursday evening. All right, if you're going to have a problem doing this, just go ahead and send me a text or an email or give me a call, and we'll see if we can work something out. But if I haven't heard from your parents or from you, then I'll just expect to get that 3-page test. Make sure I get all 3 pages before Thursday night at 10 o'clock. All right, you guys have a happy Easter, and take care.